guys, my name is J.O. Gimpy Dwarf and welcome to a 4K special. So by the time this video goes out I will have been on 4,000 subscribers. I checked this morning, I was on about 4,004 and it's just been steadily increasing. So thank you everybody for doing that, and just as a bit of a present to you guys I figured I'd show off something that me and my dad decided to do a few weeks ago, last year in fact. And what it is behind me. So what we did was we got a bunch of consoles, like old retro consoles, and we made a bit of a man cave out of this place. I'm actually sitting next to the bar that we have in our conservatory and the game setup, which is right there as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you all the consoles that we have to offer on this and just talk a bit about them and just prove to you guys that I'm not as PC related as you think. I did start out playing games on console and I enjoy them to the max, but PC is a lot better for the quality and of course recording. So that's what I'm going to do, so let's get to it. Okay, so I figured I'd start at the top, bottom, whichever way. I figured I'd start at the top, showing off the two consoles that we got here. So I've actually got the Wii, which is like one of the most popular things Nintendo has ever brought out. And we kind of figured let's put it up here with everything else because we can of course play it on the TV above. And we've also got the Kinect sensor at the top there as well, which is part of the Xbox, which I'll show in a second because that's quite a relic in itself. And just to let you guys know, the way we actually switch through the consoles is we've got all the cables, the red, green, yellow cables hooked up, and we basically just have this switch box which is plugged in the back with all of the connections. And we just hit whichever channel, and we've got them all written down on a piece of paper which is underneath that. You can't see that like white bit there. And that is basically telling us what channels to switch to whatever console. So you turn the console on and you just switch to whatever you want and then you play. Simple as that. A bit like plug in and play. Really, really easy. So let's get to the other consoles on the shelf below. Okay, so I'm getting lower and lower and it's getting more and more uncomfortable for me to sit somewhere. So I'm on like a bit of a swivelly stool again. So yeah, so on the shelf below that we have two of the newest things on this, believe it or not. We've actually got the Xbox Arcade, which is the first Xbox I ever had and the first Xbox that ever entered this household. And this used to be mine, a good 256 megabytes of RAM in that, and then I got the expansion for a 250 gigabyte hard drive to attach onto the top. And then we've also got the Sony PlayStation 2. We do have the PlayStation 3, but that's in another room. And this is one of the best consoles to play a lot of awesome games on, and you know, like your Band of Brothers and things like that. Absolutely amazing games come on this, and it is one of the favourites on the shelf. My favourite is at the end, so stay tuned for that one. Now the one next to it we actually have is a PlayStation 1. That has my favourite game on, which is called Crash Team Racers, if you've ever heard of it. It's basically like Mario Kart, but with Crash Bandicoot, and it's a lot more addictive. So they really need to remake that at some point, but I don't know if they will. But this is amazing. We've actually got the two see-through controllers, the crystal controllers, or whatever they used to call them. They're the only ones we could really find that were in good nick to buy off someone. So that's that on the shelf. Next! Okay, so the shelf below that, we have like some mood lighting in here, so it may get brighter and darker every now and then. It glows a little bit. So in here we do have the GameCube, which is in here with the controllers that are completely weird and wonderful and amazing. The controllers are, I don't know, they're actually compatible with the Wii, which is amazing. So these can actually plug into the Wii at the top and you can play all the games on that. It's really good compatibility in their behalf, because Xbox controllers, you can't do that with it because Xbox controllers have the stupidest connectors in the world, and they've actually only just started to go to like micro USB and stuff like that. So we've also got the very first Xbox here, which is the Xbox box, as I call it, because it was the original and it had one of my favourite Star Wars games on, which is Star Wars Republic Commando, and by far it is the best Star Wars game I've ever played. That and Battlefront, sorry. So this was a really, really cool gadget in the time, and I absolutely loved it. It was a bit of a brick, But when people say that the new Xbox looked quite big and like a set-top box, this looked even more like a set-top box. So they can't really speak. So that's those two. Again, I've spoken about my favourite games. I don't really have any favourite games on the GameCube because I don't really play the GameCube a lot. I wasn't a GameCube kid, so I don't really have much to say on that. But from what I've played, there are some good games on there. Can't really say one off the top of my head, but it's very good nevertheless. Let's move on. Okay, so the next two we've got an N64, a Nintendo 64 with its wazzed out spacey age spaceship controllers. Now, I've played a few games on this. Mario Kart 64 is my favourite, of course, because that is like one of the popular games on the console. But it's a very, very nice console to play on, and the controllers are really quite comfortable because I can actually get my hands like in like this, actually play with the joystick and stuff. Really, really awesome. So that is a really good console. And then we've also got the 16-bit Mega Drive, which for some people 16-bit isn't a lot, but back in the day it was amazing, and the amount you could do on these was awesome. Controllers, just, you know, your average controllers, but again, it's a Sega console. Like, Sega have stopped making consoles now, and the Mega Drive 2 and 1 were some of the best consoles out there at the time. And of course you get Sonic on it and all the good stuff like that. So these two consoles are very good. If you can actually pick up a Mega Drive, they're really quite easy to pick up. I would say get one. They're quite a lot of fun. Only 2-player, but a lot of fun nevertheless. Let's move on. Okay, so in the shiny section of this cabinet, we actually have the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES as most people would call it. It's, again, one of those ones that you just can never stop playing. It has your typical reset button, your power switch, and your eject. So there's no touchy buttons on this. It's purely all clunky. If you hear that, it's clunky plastic. So it's proper sort of old school gaming. And then beside that, we actually have the Dreamcast, the Sega Dreamcast. This thing is crazy. The controllers on it are like boats. I mean, if you look at this, they're like boats, and they have plugins for stuff as well, for like memory expansions and stuff. We actually have 2 of them in there, but they need batteries in themselves to work. So I think the batteries may have died in those too. I don't think we played it a lot, in all fairness. So that's the Sega. I mean, again, usual dish tray. And just all that awesomeness. I mean, they kind of stuck to a very similar thing with the Dreamcast and the PlayStations. They're very samey but different in really cool ways. I mean, look at this controller. I mean, how do you get your hands around that if you're really, 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 really small? No one knows. And how you actually reach this joystick, I don't even know. I don't think I'd be able to do it with these hands. So those are those two, and then we're actually going to move on to my favourite console on this shelf, and then I'll sort of show you some other cool things as well. So I'll see you guys in a sec. Okay, so sitting on the very, very, very edge of this sort of setup we've got going, I actually have one of the oldest consoles, well, the oldest console on this shelf, and what it is an Atari 2600 video computing system. This thing is like, I don't know, it's awesome. I mean, if you look, it's got like a wooden veneer finishy look. The controllers are completely wazking out there, and they're just like amazing. Games you get on this are like Phoenix and Centipede and other sort of cool games, very much like Snake, and Tanks as well, Pong. The very original Atari actually had Pong in it, and it only had one game, so all you could play was Pong, which was just, you know, completely out there. It did something different and brought consoles to, you know, homes, and people wouldn't have to go out to the arcade to play games. They could just sit there and play their favourite game and get absolutely amazing at it. And all the switches on this are absolutely crazy, because certain games had certain levels in which you had to actually select the levels from this and select your game and reset the game, and your TV type, if it's colour or BW, black and white, and just all that other stuff. And it was absolutely crazy. The connections for this as well are pretty insane and weird. We've had to do a few things. We're looking at modifying it so we can actually have it as a red, green and yellow connection, but that's, you know, touch and go whether it will work, and we don't really want to ruin something that is so perfect. So this is like my favourite console on here, and I hope you guys would agree with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed looking at all the different consoles we actually have in our house. We're very much a game related family. We love playing games, anything that's addictive. My dad's like a freaking Angry Birds pro now, and he just blitzes anyone on there. So, but yeah, we're very game orientated. If we can find multiplayer games, we'll have like game nights and stuff every now and then, just to cheer us all up and spend some time with the family. So, we may actually see me doing some bit of like plays throughs of games and stuff, but it depends on whether I can get stuff recording, because trying to record something, say, off the Atari is ridiculously hard at the moment. So it may become a thing where we have a look at playing some of the consoles and seeing, how playable the games are nowadays, and maybe get my dad involved and my parents. That might be good. So thank you again, guys, for the 4,000 subscribers. It really has come around quickly since the new year, and it's literally overwhelming. It's just something really big, and I like my family that they've all sort of embraced it and sort of have said, they're really proud that I'm actually sort of, going off and doing something different and doing something I enjoy and working for it as well. So thank you guys, really thank you for, the 4,000 of you that decide to subscribe to the channel and watch every day, and help the channel grow and grow and grow and just keep growing. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, favourite, and of course subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys later. Mwah! Peace!